my run one in Q3 that would have been enough for P3 in qualifying hurt me. And you start in the back of the top group.
Have you heard what Max Verstappen, Red Bull Racing star driver and three-time world champion, has done this time? Verstappen has stirred the pot yet again with his aggressive driving style in Austin and Mexico. However, it seems his rivals are pushing for change.
And he's getting towards Max Verstappen now, tries to cover him off and pushes him to the left-hand side. Hamilton on the inside!
And with the Brazilian Grand Prix just around the corner, let's see what happens. So, guys, how might the FIA's new rules impact Verstappen's approach? Will he face harsher penalties if he doesn't adapt? There can be a great shift in Formula One's future. Now, let's set the stage with Verstappen's recent performances in Austin and Mexico. In Austin, Max was his usual aggressive self, pulling off some intense defensive moves against Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton. While he managed to keep it within the rules at the Circuit of the Americas, Mexico was a different story. There, Verstappen received two separate 10-second penalties for actions many consider overly aggressive. Some fans think the penalties were harsh, but others feel it's about time the FIA stepped in. Were these penalties justified, or is Verstappen just getting targeted? Now, with the tensions already high, the FIA has ruled out new rules for the upcoming Brazilian GP. These stricter regulations focus on enforcing track limits, monitoring aggressive racing, and ensuring fair play. Track limits are a big part of it. Drivers will face immediate penalties if any part of their car crosses the boundary lines. This rule will be enforced rigorously using advanced track monitoring technology, so there is no slipping by undetected. Verstappen, known for his push-the-limit style, will likely feel the heat from this rule. Do you think Verstappen should tone down his racing style, or does F1 needs more drivers who are willing to push the boundaries? The new rules haven't just affected Verstappen. Other drivers and teams are weighing in too. George Russell commented that the stewards' recent actions reflect a long overdue change in F1's approach to aggressive driving. Russell noted that 19 out of 20 drivers agree that if a rule is correct, it should be enforced immediately, not just in 2025. Russell's comments reflect a growing sentiment in the paddock. Drivers are tired of feeling that Verstappen's aggressive tactics put others' races at risk. What do you all think? Is the FIA making the right call by listening to the drivers now? On the flip side, Red Bull Racing's team principal Christian Horner has voiced concerns over these changes. He argues that the new rules unfairly reward drivers on the outside line during overtakes, calling it a shift from how racing has traditionally worked. According to Horner, it's frustrating that you almost have to consult the rulebook on every overtake. Red Bull feels that a driver defending the inside line shouldn't automatically face a disadvantage, as it was historically riskier to be on the outside of the turn. So guys, is Red Bull just protecting Verstappen, or do they have a point? Some people say F1 should keep some of its old-school principles, and some defend the new change as a necessary evolution. So where does Verstappen stand? Surprisingly, he's taken the penalties in stride. Max recently stated that he's more concerned about the car's pace against Ferrari and McLaren than about his penalties. His recent actions have earned criticism from several rivals, including Lando Norris, who said he's tired of having to avoid collisions with Verstappen. Norris noted that he expects tough battles but fair ones. Today was not fair, clean racing. Despite the criticism, Verstappen is unlikely to soften his approach. Max's father, Jos Verstappen, doubled down, saying Max won't alter his driving style just because a few stewards disagree with it. Do you think Verstappen should stick to his guns, or is it time for a more calculated approach? Verstappen's aggressive style is nothing new. Remember the 2021 season when Max frequently clashed with Lewis Hamilton? Many of those battles pushed the rules to the limit. Back then, his style was often labeled as hard but fair racing. However, with F1 evolving, what was once celebrated might now be frowned upon. Verstappen's style can be summed up as make it or break it. As Mercedes' Toto Wolff noted, drivers will push the limits if they know they won't face penalties. But with recent changes in interpretation, Wolff believes the days of pushing rivals off the track without consequence are over. Could this be a turning point in F1's history? Are we witnessing the end of an era of aggressive, hard-nosed racing? Looking forward to the Brazilian Grand Prix. What does all of this mean for the upcoming race? Verstappen may need to dial back his aggression, especially with rumors of a potential grid penalty for engine changes. He is likely to face increased scrutiny from the stewards, and any overly aggressive moves could cost him valuable points. On top of that, Ferrari and McLaren are both gaining momentum, meaning Verstappen's margin for error is shrinking. It's shaping up to be a showdown, with Verstappen up against stricter rules and fierce competition. Will the new rules make the Brazilian Grand Prix more exciting, or are they just adding unnecessary pressure on drivers?
You know, I always go into the races and I expect good battles and fair battles, and of course, you know, I expect a tough battle with Max. There's just, I don't want to complain about it, you know, because I really, this is what I love. I love going into races and knowing like we're going to have a good battle today and he's going to put up a good fight and all of those things. And I look forward to it, but things like today are just a bit too far, in my opinion, and obviously in the stewards' opinions too. And I'd say probably the majority of people's opinions. And that's just not how I think many people like to go racing. But I respect Max a lot. I want to race hard against him. But yeah, if I didn't do what I did today and avoid him, I'd probably be out of the race, you know. So it's tough, but I played my cards well. I knew what to expect in many ways, and yeah, points are good for me at the minute, and we'll just keep on. I didn't want to expect such a thing because I respect Max a lot as a driver, but I was ready to expect something like this, and this is yeah, not very clean driving in my opinion, but it's I avoided it, and it was a good race.
Do anything different next time around then, given they've been penalised?
Maybe get a drink in the pit stop. Yeah, I mean the engine was off for 20 seconds, so I had enough time.
All right.
20 seconds is good.